The Bengals offense bounced back in a big way. The defense forced 3 turnovers, and Cincinnati beat the Cardinals on Sunday to improve to 2-3. So, what are the biggest concerns going into this week's matchup against the Seattle Seahawks? I discuss them and much, much more right now at Cincinnati Bengals Talk. Hi again, everyone, and welcome into CBT. I'm James Rapien of allbengals.com. Hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and make sure you check out all of our post-game content from the Bengals beating the Cardinals and whether it's Joe Burrow, Zach Taylor, a one-on-one with Cam Taylor-Britt, a.k.a. Mr. Pick Six, Trenton Irwin talking to reporters after the game. We have you covered right here. Oh, and of course, Ja'Marr Chase. In fact, not only did we have the Ja'Marr Chase interview, I did a separate video on Ja'Marr on Tuesday. Check it out because he's on an NFL record-breaking pace through 5 games. But let's get to some concerns because, and obviously we know Joe Burrow's health is up there. He's looking better. You need him to trend in the right direction, and he's doing that. You need him to avoid setbacks. So that's obviously concern number one. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on that because so far, so good when it comes to Burrow this week, how he's moved, how he was feeling on Monday. I was told good to go. So hopefully that continues. I think Burrow impressed the entire team, coaching staff, even himself with how well he was able to move and play on Sunday against the Cardinals. Hopefully that continues. That said, I think there's a few obvious ones for this Bengals team. And let's start on offense. The running game in general and what they're doing, how they've done it, how they've operated. It's tough. Joe Mixon's been on the field for 75% of the offensive snaps through 5 games. That just isn't sustainable. He's never played more than 60-something percent. In fact, I have them right here. He's never played more than 67% of the snaps in his career. And that's asking him to get up to 75%. He's already at 245 snaps. The most snaps he's played in his career is 697 in the regular season. So you want to try to keep him fresh. And maybe it's Chase Brown. Maybe it's Travion Williams. I'm not sure who it is. Maybe Chris Evans. Maybe it's someone else. They need to find a reliable RB2 option just to give Mixon some breathing room. He's clearly RB1. This isn't that debate, but to me, that is a concern. Who's going to be the RB2 through 5 weeks? I'm not sure we know. And that is a problem because you don't want to over-rely on Mixon and then have him wear down when you need him later in the year. And that's exactly when they will need him, especially the weather's changing. There's going to be games where they need to lean on the run game a little bit more. And so we'll see if they can find a second back just to give Mixon a breather here or there and not have to worry about it. So that is certainly a concern. To me, a lot of people, I think, would say offensive line. I think the offensive line's been really good in pass protection. Overall, they certainly were the other day, even though that Cardinals front isn't that good. That said, and by that, I mean, there's no Myles Garrett, there's no TJ Watt, Aaron Donald, Jeffrey Simmons. They weren't dealing with those kind of players. That said, I think that tight end is going to be at the high of a lot of people's lists. And I do wonder, the trade deadline is 3 weeks from now, exactly today. It's on Halloween. Could they look at a tight end? Who knows? We'll see. Maybe Irv Smith Jr. gets more comfortable. He's missed a couple of games with a hamstring injury. A lot of people writing him off. I'm not willing to write Irv Smith Jr. off yet, but you would like to see him start to get churning in the right direction. Did draw a pass interference the other day, which was a big moment, certainly a big play in the game. We'll see if he can be that guy, but you certainly need someone to step up in that tight end room. And so those would be the 2 big concerns, which we spent a lot of offseason talking about it. RB2 and tight end. Definitely a concern. You flip it, and on defense, I think my biggest thing that I would be worried about is the ground game and just getting gashed on the ground. And on Sunday, James Conner, a big 35-yard run, he gets hurt with a knee injury, and then you give up an 11-yard touchdown run to his backup, and the Cardinals were trailing, so they couldn't lean on the run maybe as much as they wanted to, which is part of the script. But I'm not confident in this Bengals team and their ability specifically to tackle. You're going to have to tackle, and they've struggled to do that through 5 games. This defense needs to figure that out starting this week against Seattle, and so that is a big concern. The other one is just explosive plays. and working through it. I know they're working through some questions at safety behind Dax Hill. Is it going to be Nick Scott? Is it going to be Jordan Battle? I think that's a real question going into Sunday's game against Seattle. So the thing that I kind of like optimistically is you get a big win in Arizona on the road. You're shorthanded, no T. Higgins, no Chidobe Awuzie, and yet there's obvious things that you have to work on, that you have to get better at on offense, right? The goal line, you have to find a way to score there. And the defense picked you up, so it didn't really hurt you looking back, but you have to find a way to score there, 4 runs inside the 3-yard line. And then you flip it on defense, tackling, explosive plays. Even though you force 3 turnovers, even though there's a lot of positives, there's plenty to work on as well. And I think that's the best of both worlds for the coaching staff. Clear things that the guys have to get better at. At the same time, you get a win, you get the benefit, you're feeling good about winning and moving up in the standings. At the same time, you have to improve. So it's a best case, I think, of needing to improve, because you get the win. There's plenty of positives from it. And at the same time, there's some obvious things that the Bengals need to work on. I do wonder if Chase Brown becomes that guy. I think we know what Travion Williams is as an RB2. Chris Evans wasn't in there at all this past week, even though he was active. Williams got 12 snaps. Chase Brown got 1 snap. You drafted Chase for a reason. You would imagine he would get to start to work in a little bit more. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe the answer isn't on this roster. That's something that we will continue to look at, analyze from afar. And I'm not saying they should go out on the free agent wire yet, but if they don't trust anyone on the roster to be RB2 behind Joe Mixon, then you certainly got to start looking around the league, looking around the free agent wire to figure out if you can find an RB2 that is going to help you this season, because this Bengals offense has a chance to be really, really, really good like we expected. And this defense, I think, can figure it out, can fix their mistakes, and be a really good unit at some point this year. I don't think they're going to come out necessarily and fix all of these things by Seattle. Maybe they do. Who knows? Because I didn't think Joe Burrow was going to be spinning around and doing all the movement that he did, running for first downs and signaling and dropping the ball either. So things can change in a hurry in this league. Sunday's game against Seattle is a really, really important one. So make sure you keep it locked right here on Cincinnati Bengals Talk. We will have you covered every step of the way throughout this week. Certainly be at the game on Sunday at Paycor Stadium as well. And shout out to our partners at Rivertown Inkery and rivertowninkery.com. Check them out. If you're coming into town, check them out. And you can go to they have 2 locations. Findlay Market if you're staying downtown. If not, if you're in the burbs, that's fine. Oakley is 10 minutes from downtown, and you can check out their Oakley location, get their addresses, look at all their gear online right now at rivertowninkery.com. For Andrew Fox Miller, I'm James Rapien. We'll be back at it on Wednesday with plenty of coverage coming your way ahead of Sunday's game against Seattle. Until then, thank you so much for watching Cincinnati Bengals Talk.